We are with Cheryl Pounder, and Cheryl, free agent frenzy, less than 2 weeks away. We want to play a game, who stays, who goes, with some of the top UFAs from Canadian teams. We're going to start with the Jets. Nik Ehlers, do you think he stays or goes?
I think he stays, or at least Kevin Cheveldayoff and the Winnipeg Jets organization will do everything to keep him. I mean, when you look at the left winger and his body of work, you know you're getting 25 to 28 goals a year. And he's so dynamic in terms of on his skates, his edge work. He really can create some space in the offensive zone. And when you look at the top portion of that lineup at the deadline, we were talking about that second line and bolstering it down the middle. Well, now all of a sudden, if you lose a Nik Ehlers, you're looking at an even further void that you got to fill. So to me, you got to find a way to hold on to this guy. You know that they're in contention windows. So for the Winnipeg Jets, they want to hold him. It's a matter of whether he wants to stay. You hope he does, because there's going to be a lot of bandwidth for this guy. And I'm looking directly at the Hurricanes right now. You know, this guy is a control entry machine. He possesses the puck. So I think in the absence of Natchez, they'd be looking at this guy to give an uptick in their offensive production, in particular in the playoffs, to get them over the hump. But I think he's staying, Sarah.
Okay, sounds good. But I'm so curious to see what the Hurricanes do for free agent frenzy. Next up, we've got John Tavares. There's lots of talk the former captain will stay in Toronto, but with all the big money being thrown around, Cheryl, could he be convinced to leave? What do you think?
I think he's staying, Sarah. I mean, the hometown boy is going to stay. And the reason I say that is not just, because he might take a bit of a haircut versus what he can get on the open market. This guy's been consistent over the entirety of his career. And he's a 38 goal scorer last year at the age of 34. How about let's look at him in the dot, shall we? 58% last year. So that's showing some versatility. And when you look at him down the middle of the ice, this is a guy that has the intangibles. He's got that DNA in terms of pushing for the middle of the ice. He takes a beating in the paint, below the goal line, along the wall. And if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs, yes, if you're in your contention window and you want to win, yes, you see him in that 3C hole. But guess what? If you lose him, you're looking at a 2C and a 3C. So for me right now, I think they've got to hold a John Tavares.
Yeah, I think you're right with that. And then Brock Boeser, he scored 40 goals just a season ago, is one of the best snipers available. Will he stay in Vancouver or move on?
I think he moves on, Sarah. A lot of water under this bridge, if you know what I'm talking about. And Patrick Allvin at the deadline said, so it's hard to find a trade partner, but I find that hard to believe in free agency right now with all of the teams that be looking to bolster their offensive lineup, in particular a right winger, as you mentioned, who is a year removed from a 40-goal performance. And he did have 25 goals this year. And so you can actually say to yourself, okay, a top six, what teams, could be ideal for him? Well, you could go to the Rangers. You could say someone like a JT Miller playing alongside him. A lot of familiarity right there. You could even look at the Ottawa Senators. I don't know, a little familiarity with Travis Green. But if you look at the Detroit Red Wings, you can say, okay, they're bolstering it as well. But I'm going to look directly at Minnesota right now. And the reason why, it's the hockey state and he is from there. But when I also look at the uptick in offensive production for a team that really started out of the gate so well and then limped into playoffs, Minnesota is a really solid hockey team. But they need to bolster their offense, in particular in their top six. They need guys to support Boldy and Kaprizov. So when I look at Brock Boeser and his ability to snipe and even get to pockets to be able to get that shot off, I'm looking directly at him going home to Minnesota.
All righty. And last up, we've got Claude Giroux. Of course, we've watched him be a big part of the Senators' growth the last couple of years. So will he stay in the nation's capital or will he go elsewhere?
I think he stays, and it's just such a natural fit. And you look at his veteran presence and the expectation last year, and they were able to get to the playoffs. So they were able to get over that hump, and he was a big part of that piece of the pie, if you will. But I think if they want to go further, they've got to bolster their top six. So the price has to be right, because when I look at someone like Claude Giroux, I see him in that middle six. You need 5-on-5 scoring in that top six, and they've got to find the cap room to be able to go out and bolster it and make a difference there. So for a guy like Giroux, he's born in Ontario, right? The familiarity in the hometown, he can provide that secondary scoring. I think they do have to get him at a good price, but certainly I think it's a natural fit, and I think they'll hold on to him.
Okay, yeah, sometimes you just can't beat that hometown feel, too. Well, the countdown's on. Free agent frenzy is July 1st, and TSN's coverage begins at 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific.